Okay. Hi guys, welcome to our YouTube. What's the usually say the unpopular opinion?
You're saying real. I'm saying raw. Wait.
We usually say the other one together.
Okay.
Hi guys, welcome to the unpopular opinion.
Real,
Raw.
And we're saying it all.
Okay, today we're talking about a topic that has been very highly requested, especially on my personal Instagram, and that is a topic on divorce. And we have our wonderful guest over here. Life after divorce. Is it possible? How does it happen? I've been through it, but today we're not talking about me. We have a guest over here. Phidra, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Phidra.
And?
I am divorced, or I was, whatever it is. I'm getting married soon.
Woo!
congratulations.
Actually, by the time you guys watch this,
She'll be
Phidra's
married.
going to be married.
Yes.
She'll be white.
She's going to be
Remarried, yes. Second
So,
marriage.
our first question to you is, how long were you married in your first marriage?
I was married, staying together for 3 years, separated for another 2. So the marriage lasted a total of 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
3
then-
in the same house, 2 separated.
Okay.
Yes.
And I feel like the biggest question that we often get is, how do you heal? Like, that is the question everyone asks me. And I have talked until my eyes are blue. Now, can you tell us, what was your process?
I feel like healing from a divorce is such a lonely place
100%.
because there's a lot of shame and stigma that comes with it.
Yeah.
You can't really talk about it in society. There's a time I went to a wedding and my auntie, a paternal auntie, says, "Don't show your uncle that you're divorced, like that you're separated. Like this, like it's a shaming, and you've disgraced people by
Failed the entire plan.
by deciding to do what you have done. So it is a very lonely place because even the people that have been there do not want to talk about it.
Yeah.
They probably are embarrassed about it. So it's not an easy journey.
Okay.
Yeah, like if I try to sum it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone can. I mean, I've been through it, so I know 100% it's very lonely.
Yes.
It's difficult to explain to people why you've chosen this very painful thing when you could have just chosen to stay, which people don't actually realize is even more painful.
Yes.
I've just thought about something. Like, actually, it's a question to both of you. Because I know Claire got married like at 22-ish.
Yeah.
When did you get married?
23.
Do you guys feel like the marrying early thing had was it a factor? Do you feel like it was a factor in how things
Now
ended?
that you're older.
Like now,
For
looking
me,
back.
it definitely was because the picture I had, first of all, my mom is a widow. So I grew up in a single parent household. And the idea I had of marriage was what I saw on TV, Telemundo,
The Barbaritas were confusing us.
Sunset Beach,
All
Baba Rose, Wild
Mark
Rose.
movies.
Thank you. They are all so in love with these people,
Yeah.
and they are seemingly having our forever after, like happily ever after.
Yeah.
And then you grow up watching Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast, and like, I mean, the Beast became a cute man, and they forever. So that is what I had in my head.
Yeah.
Because there were actually a few red flags earlier. Some of my friends told me, "Phidra, don't. You're making a mistake." But I was like, "No, you guys. When we are married, he'll change."
You don't know him.
Yeah, he'll change. Like, me, I see my uncles.
For some, and correct me if I'm wrong. Also, growing up without a dad, most times you'll find that like not most times, a couple of times you'll find that the young girl is looking to fill that certain space or void. And for us, I think that option comes in marriage. Like you're like, let me get married so that a man also, like I also have like a man in my life to take care of me. Yeah. And when you talk about having grown up in like a single mother household, I feel like, for me anyway, when I was looking for a relationship, I was looking for a father figure. So for like to fill a void of a man's presence in my life, in actually even more of a fatherly way than in a sexual way. So I feel like in a way it also contributes to
your decision
to these
making,
decisions.
yeah.
Yes.
I think for me, there were a few factors. First of all, there were never really any red flags that were there standing out. Everybody was happy for me. You know, everybody was happy. I was happy for me. But the one thing I know is that I wasn't ready at that time, at that age, to make that serious and life decision to decide who I wanted to get married to spend the rest of my life with. Now, that's not taking away from the people that have. You get that the ones that are successful, fair, that's fine. We see it. We're not taking anything away from it. We're not diminishing that. We're just saying for us it didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah.
For us it didn't work. I remember with my ex-husband, he's actually a pretty decent guy. Now I'm healed enough to say that.
Amen.
Pretty decent guy. But I just wanted a wedding. I wanted a wedding, and I felt like I was old. You know how they say, if you have compass and you haven't gotten a guy to marry you, you are going to stay on the shelf. So for me, those are the voices that were in my head. Yeah. That's why I made the decision to get married. Do I regret it? No.
Yeah.
My next question to you, Phidra, is: did you see any red flags?
Yes, I did. But the thing with either me or we as women, you see a red flag and you say, let me add some blue and it will become purple. Then it still becomes red. You say, Kale, if I put yellow, now it's orange. You know? Yeah, so I saw things, but I changed them in my head. Like, it's not that bad. It will change. It will get better. Like, I want to be those people who are at a wedding and then my uncle gets the mic and says, let my wife talk first. Now that's me. I'm the one talking. You know?
Yeah.
I wasn't really looking for a marriage. It was a bit different for me. Rather for a wedding, I wanted to be married. Yeah. I wanted to have so many babies. Like I used to tell my friends, you guys, I'll be at home wearing his shirt, taking care of our babies. Then he'll come home. Yes, that is what I imagined in my
his
head.
shirts.
But you see now,
Getting married for his shirts. Like, please, we are getting for checked shirts. Moreover, checked shirts.
now you see after I leave,
getting married young, the things you have
exactly.
in your head.
Now when I leave is when my mom sits me down and tells me we actually went through these hardships. And I'm thinking, why did it have to get to this for us to have this conversation?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes.
That's why I'm trying to have conversations with Ella, not really about marriage, but about anything and everything, as early as now, so that by the time she's getting there, these conversations are normal. Yes. So imagine my shock when I get out of my marriage. And then I find out that my mom had hardships in hers.
You're like,
But then
you find out this auntie left her home. And then
thank you. Then you remember when the other auntie came to visit, she had actually, I had no idea. I didn't know that these things happen. So I even thought I was a fuss. That's what even made it more lonely. I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't tell anyone. I thought it was my fault.
It's hard. It's really, really hard. I know.
Lots of women actually do. I have a friend who once confided in me, and she said something so painful. She's like, you people, she said it in Nyankore, but she said that I really cooked. She's like, nkateka. And she's like, all the things they say women should do, I did. When if it was sex, I was giving it very well and freely. And, you know, if it's to make sure that the food is ready, are you kneeling? Are you serving? She's like, and she's like, but the marriage failed. And you can tell, you know, I know that you get to a place where you move around like for a very long time, for so many years, asking yourself, like, in this case, where I did everything, where I really, really did everything that I could, and things failed. Like, you keep blaming yourself, you keep asking yourself, what could I have done? Like, what did I do? What did I do? What more could I have done? And, you know, you wish you knew what more you could do so that you can actually also add it onto what you're already doing.
Yeah, I totally relate with that. Before my first wedding, my family has a culture where my mom and her sisters throw you a shower, just like your cousins and your friends, and then they're talking to you. And then my mom asked me, what is it that is taking you into this marriage? I'm in love with him. I want to be a wife. I want to have kids. Like, you can do all that at home. What is there that is not at home? And I am
Struggles.
like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then she tells me the one thing that is in your marriage that is not at home is sex. There is a car at home. There is food at home. There is a house at home. Is go, give it, enjoy it. Just not. First of all, she has said the word sex again, normalizing conversations. I was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
But then now I get into this
Your mother
marriage
is a
and
virgin.
right?
Yeah.
And this is actually the one aspect that's not there. And you throw yourself at this man and you try this and you say, but even they say that we have to, and yet it's just not happening. And you feel like it's your fault, like you've done something wrong. And
it's actually psychologically, it can play with your psyche because you've been told, you've been groomed,
yes.
you know, to get married. That is the only time you have sex once you get married. And then you get married, there is no.
Thank you, yes.
Yeah, I get what you
So I totally relate with her, not knowing what have I done, what could I have done differently, how is it my fault, how is it not my fault, you know? Yeah.
What, like, it has, like, talking about, like, divorce has now made me think of, like, breakups. And now very, very many conversations about breakups in life.
I feel like this is the same as divorce or separation or, you know, breakups for...
It has made me think about, you know how you can be in a relationship, just like how you were saying that things are happening, and you're changing the colors of the red flag and you're making all these excuses, blah, blah, blah. And then, but then there's a thing that comes and it's like,
It's not going
it's the
anywhere.
thing
Yeah.
that sends you. You know how there's like a thing, and sometimes it's even it seems small.
That straw that
It seems
breaks that comes
small,
back.
like it seems that I remember talking to a friend and I was telling her that this man had done all these things and we had been through all these motions, like significant things. But the thing that made me go, he just made one statement, said something about me being inconvenient in the middle of another sentence. And I was like,
Done. That is it.
Yes.
Yeah.
exit stage
Namaste
left.
to you too.
Thank you for your time and
It's been amazing.
love you.
Adios.
Peace.
Goodbye.
It happened for me
Most
like
times it's
that
shocking
as
for
well.
them.
Through the whole marriage, the honest truth is I was not happy.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to my friends, my best friends, I want to leave, I want to go, I can't stay here. I just know we packed, unpacked, because I didn't want to be that person that is back and forth, that now she left, then she came back, then she left. I wanted to decide once. So I come up with this plan. My mom is going to the village. Let me have her have the baby so that it's just the two of us to see if we can go back to dating days.
Yeah.
And then she goes away for 2 days. Day 3, we have the worst fight. And basically he's asking me where I've taken his child. And like, you know, it was a realization that a child is not going to fix this.
Yes.
Even my
With or
conceiving-
without.
Can you please say it again?
We are putting next time on the next episode on
Billboard.
this T-shirt we'll have it
Yeah,
here.
it needs
Yeah.
to be put on the billboard. The baby will not do anything.
And to be honest, even at conception, we were on the verge of a breakup. And then we had this conversation. No, it's going to work. It's going to work. It's like, I'm going for counseling Phidra. Let's have a baby. I'm like, baby is a miracle.
Yes.
A baby is going to fix this. So fast forward to this time when I send her away because I'm hoping maybe if she's not here, we will fix us. And we are just not fixing us. That is when I just decided I either leave now or tomorrow we'll have a dead body in this house. And then I called my friend. I did not have money. She came with like a truck and 100K that she borrowed from her boyfriend. She also didn't have. We packed my things, my baby's things. We sat on that car truck, nyongeza. And we left. And I slept on the floor. By that time, I'd opened my salon. I had a salon in Muyenga. I had space at the back of the salon. I put a mattress on the floor and I slept.
For the first time.
You guys, for the first time
Imagine
in 3
that.
years,
Imagine
I
that.
did not wake up at 3 a.m. to worry or to cry or to wonder. I slept up to
Pray
9
at 3 a.m. because it's the hour that the spirit changes men.
Please don't. I didn't even have food. Those days I had to borrow
didn't even have
nuts
a home.
from
You
the
were living in a
shop next door. I had to borrow nuts and tea to have a meal. Remember, Ella is still with my mom. But I slept.
Yeah.
I slept. I understood what they call peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's not inexpensive things.
Thank you.
Good for you, sis.
Question: what was his initial reaction when he realized you? If it's not too personal?
His initial reaction was really no reaction, to be honest,
Let me tell you.
for a while.
Yeah.
Then eventually, I think because of the pressure,
Yeah.
like my mom is asking, where's my daughter? Then
What's
this one is
happening?
asking, then,
What's
yeah.
happening? Yeah.
It wasn't a pretty reaction
Yeah.
because his concern was not me or where I was or how I
It
was.
was his image.
Yeah, and his home and how I had left it. And
You didn't even mop as you were leaving, Phidra? The least you could have done is iron the shirt before.
thank you very
Right?
much.
Leave things in order. Leave food for him on the table.
Then you leave back a little note.
I have good.
I shan't be coming back.
Well, I did not do that. So that's where the bigger problem was.
That you didn't mop the house.
Can you imagine? But women, a lot of women is complicated.
I feel like each time you meet a woman, please give her a silent nod so that she knows that whatever you're going through, I see you. Like,
Because how is that our lot in life that you come out like you're trying to get yourself out of a situation where you're,
I mean, your head is a mess. It's
and then people are more concerned about which dishes you didn't clean or which
Can you
that
imagine
shirt
did
you
you
didn't
leave my
iron.
mom?
dishes in the sink?
How did you leave my home?
Yeah.
And I'm like, but do you know what? Anyway, question. You know how everyone thinks, like I was once in a group, a WhatsApp group of very many women, and the topic was divorce and happened to be Christian women, and the topic was divorce. And someone came out and said that it is very selfish for two people. Two people must be very selfish to decide to divorce. If two people are divorced, it must be that they are both very selfish. That in her opinion, that you should both be doing everything, making your, make yourself smaller and whatnot, do everything you can do to resolve whatever the conflict. And I'm like, oh, nice, the beauty of privilege.
Do you know?
Because if you're saying things like that, it's not even a bad thing. You're privileged enough.
Clearly, you've
even
never.
having been in a situation
Where you are forced to choose
where you're forced
divorce.
to choose
Yes.
a rock, or you're literally between a rock and a hard
Actually,
place.
even outside being privileged, I feel like sometimes we take those things and just say, this is me because this is what I've experienced. But we have a responsibility to learn things. Okay, so I've not experienced it. Then I can sit down and ask people and then open up my mind. Just being closed-minded.
It took
I hate
every
that.
single ounce of me not to react. Not to react. And I remember my friend saying, I see you're behaving yourself. But what I want to ask you is, what do you say about that? Was that your experience? Was it easier? Would it have been easier to stay or leave?
I actually have so much comfort and peace in that statement because I know I did my best.
Yeah.
I know by the time I walked out, I really tried to make it work.
Yeah.
I know that by the time I walked out, I did not have an option.
Yeah.
It was more expensive for me to stay because my mind was gone.
Yeah.
I was not the me that you're seeing now. Because I used to meet people that went to school with me and they'd be like, but what happened? Yeah. You used to be bubbly, you used to talk. They even used to ask, have you been out of the country? Where
Where have you been?
Yes, like people didn't
Where have you been
recognize
hiding
me.
in the
Thank
house,
you.
dealing with
Yes.
your issues?
Do you know being in a situation we're not fighting? So the silence was so loud that you can hear your thoughts, you can hear your heartbeat.
Yeah.
So I really, really tried. I tried to get us to talk. I tried to get us to work it out. So whoever says selfish or not selfish,
It's not about them. It's about
It's
you.
okay,
It's
because
you. It's
I
always
tried.
you. It's about
I
you.
love the fact that you say that, because quite often the decision to stay or leave is often based off of other people.
That's true.
Banda babatia.
Thank you.
How are people going to see me?
Yes.
You know, what are people going to say? I'm going to shame my family if I
Yes.
leave.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad that you brought it out so that many people who are out there, and you know, our African culture, unfortunately, we focus more on the physical. Bakubye.
Thank
Do
you.
you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, people do
you
not
know,
understand
now
the
that they're married,
gravity.
Hey, did they beat her?
If they
Do you
didn't
get
beat
what
her,
I mean?
where is she
You
going?
You can't even
Yeah.
explain to anyone that the man does not talk to me or the woman does not
Yeah,
talk to me.
that
Like
you-
people do not understand the gravity of silent treatment
Yeah,
and
that you've
how
been emotionally
emotional
abused.
Abuse.
It is. It's emotional abuse.
You know, unless you have scars on your body, you know, everyone
Yes.
thinks you have change, or you're just being
But
spoiled.
actually, everyone has their, I think their
threshold.
everyone
Their
has their
threshold,
thresholds.
That's true. What you can manage
But
and
the
what you
truth is
can't.
that for me, like personally, I see a lot of people that are damaged more with words and silent treatment.
It's the truth.
Than anyone will ever be damaged with
It's the
a
truth.
slap,
It's
a
the truth,
physical
yeah.
slap.
Like, yeah, there are times
It's just
you do
easier to
forget
hide.
that someone, it's easy. Yeah, that's true. It's easier to hide. And sometimes people don't even recognize that they're being emotionally abused.
No,
they just feel like,
don't.
oh, no, the thing is that when we disagree, for them, they keep quiet. Their coping method is not talking for weeks.
Yeah.
As in,
That's not a coping method. That
What
is
made me
abuse.
realize that I was being abused? One time, my mom asked him, she said, but so and so, Phidra said she tried to speak to you on many occasions and you refused. And he said, yeah, why should I talk to her yet? I know not talking to her will torture her psychologically. To my mother. That was the first time my mom actually broke down over my
Realized that this-
separation and said, girl, if you need to come home, come home.
And even the level
And
of
then
disrespect.
she even made me, like, by me, I didn't even know that this is psychological. I just knew that I felt a certain
felt a
way,
certain way. You
which
just
I
couldn't
couldn't
put words
describe,
to,
yes. But until he made that statement, this is actually a psychologist, he's a criminologist, like not just this. So by the time he's making that statement to my
He
mom,
knows he's doing it on purpose. He's trying to break you.
exactly, yes. So I realized that the effort I had even been putting in was definitely not going to be reciprocated, you know? Yeah.
Mussolini.
I think like you, like even as we talk about this, I'm thinking you really need to know yourself. I know it's a lifelong journey of getting to know ourselves and everything, but even the fact you see how you didn't even know what you were feeling. You're like, what is this thing? I'm feeling. It's like there's a thing around my neck.
You can't cry because
I
you're
know
like,
what it is.
what am I crying about?
You
Like,
know, you can't
Do you know,
identify
I
that.
remember feeling that why I've made this choice. Why? You get what I mean? Like I've made this choice. Why am I crying?
Yeah.
I remember entering an empty house for the first time in years, you know, and it was going to be empty. And I got a cushion and I wailed into the cushion. Wailed and wailed and wailed. For the
You're
first
even
time.
muffling that you're trying to
Yes,
muffle
you're
the
trying so
sounds.
that
Yeah.
No one hears.
No one hears,
You
yeah.
know, so no one hears you. But I broke that day. Broke
the
me.
kind
I
of
came home
pain.
to absolute quiet. Absolute quiet, and it was going to be quiet for a while. I didn't know how long it was going to be quiet for. I'm not used to being on my own. There are these things I did not know how to put yaka friends. Do you know what I mean? Like I had to learn all these things.
Yeah.
After the separation, it was quite something. It was actually quite something.
Going back to start like nothing ever happened.
Yes.
First, it is quite painful. So if you, it's not the easier route.
No, it's
really
not.
not the easier route.
Actually, staying would have been way easier.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
You just take the punches as they come. You know what is coming. You know exactly.
Yeah,
You
I
try
think
to
a lot
learn.
of people get comfortable with what's familiar.
Yeah.
So however bad it is, it's familiar. The human being, the body or mind adapts. You get it adapts. So you're just like, when he comes home, he quarrels between 5 to 6. Okay, what will I be? I'll switch off. So the body finds ways to cope with these things. That's why, it just keeps shelving, compartmentalizing. Let's just put this abuse this side. Let's keep this
And
one
also
here.
figuring out how to paint pictures. For the wall.
Yes.
And you go for events alone and you say, he works on Saturdays. That's why he's not
and
here.
you find such people over-explain. They over-explain, they over-talk about, like how my husband couldn't be here, or like how there's trauma there. There's trauma there.
That day you say you have a nice watch. Yeah, my husband bought it. Mambing, I've not even finished paying for it.
Yes.
But I have to show that everything is
also,
okay.
husband, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's that thing, I don't know what it's called, but when you attach to your abuser, someone who abuses
Stockholm
you.
syndrome.
Yeah, you attach to them because I don't know.
They're the same people. The person who is abusing you is also the same person that can heal you. You feel like this is
If you're good
you're in so
enough.
much pain, but you feel like this is also the same person that can take it away from you. That's why you forgive them, and like there's so many depths of like psychological and obviously emotional abuse, because there's also times that there's the victim also tends to self-blame.
100%.
He does something and you're just like, but you know what, I'm the one who incited this. Like, why did I start? Why did I ask him about this and that? Or why did I ask her about this and that? Because I'm the one who caused this. We are fighting because I asked this question.
Yeah.
Because I did this thing that he did.
Yes, I should know better.
You know what I mean? I should know better. You know,
Yeah.
I deserve this kind of treatment. No one deserves to talk to me. And it just starts creeping up. It's toxic, guys.
Yeah. And speaking of like forgiving yourself, was that something you had a hard time with? Like after leaving? Like
Do
did
you
you ever
know
have
it?
those
At
thoughts of,
23,
like,
do you know that?
I don't know. I don't
I was
know.
almost 30.
You're almost 30. Did you feel any like feelings of like having to forgive yourself as well?
Because of therapy. Actually, that's what my therapist told me. She told me the hardest part is going to be forgiving people that you think have no role in this, because they are not going to apologize. You're not going to go looking for apologies.
No. Yeah.
But you have to forgive for apologies that you have not got. But before you forgive anyone, you need to forgive yourself, because you also had a role.
Yeah.
Oof.
And it takes, by the way, a lot of maturity and healing
To accept
to
that
be
you
like,
also played a
listen,
role.
I played
A role, yeah. I played a
I
part
played
in
it. Now,
this.
no one deserves to be mentally abused or treated in a bad way. But you know, it's just because you played a role doesn't mean you deserved it.
Yeah,
You
that's
get
true.
it. But we're all human. We all do something.
Yeah.
We all do something too. Question. Division of property. Was there any property to be divided?
No.
That's a very good question, yeah.
Okay.
Did he have property that he acquired within? Yes. Did I try to get anything of it? No, because I was at a place where I just wanted to cut ties. Like, we already have a biological tie that is a child. The rest, I'm not going to get into this battle. It's not worth it. And also the interactions with these court sessions and all that, so much was said. It used to take me back to a bad place, and I didn't want to be responsible
And
for
it's such a
putting myself
gruesome-
there. Yeah, so for me, it just wasn't worth it.
But I think I wish we had actually had a lawyer to talk about. Now, this makes us talk about the new divorce bill and division of like the division of assets. I know that for time immemorial, women in Uganda have been have been meek in divorce, have been meek. I actually recently talked to someone who told me, I can't believe I have to like start over the house. She's like, the person took the house, took everything, and I have to start over. Like, you guys live a marriage of say 10 years and start gun rent and start buying cushions like Prim here. Go and start buying a blender, start buying everything. While they've moved on, like they have the entire house to themselves. They even bring just a new babe or a new guy and continue. But no, this is like recent, and this is a very like well-educated woman. So it's in our country. I don't even think it's about education or something. But women have been meek when it comes to divorce. They've not been getting
it's the culture.
property. It's a culture. It's a culture. They're the ones that lose. They're the ones that have to recover 20 years of because if you were alone, you would have accumulated all this property for yourself. You would have. But now you've accumulated, and women actually do contribute a lot to these homes, because there's also a feeling of our fathers where they felt like and sometimes men tend to think that, oh, I pay the big bills, you know, I pay the rent, I pay the school fees, right? So you dismiss the roles of the woman in the home simply because you're like, you know, she just shops for the bread and the milk when it's not there, and the juice, she does groceries. But you guys, do you know how much money goes into those small groceries? How much you spend a week on buying today, Amanda? There's no gas, there's no another, but because the gentleman feels like he's paying the huge bills, like, oh, school fees is 10 million, so he pays that at once. So but she has contributed to this home. To
the quality of
life. To the quality of life.
Ask, what do you say is the contribution that I birthed your children and breastfed them?
You see,
And
those
give them
things are not
primary care.
considered. They've not been considered, because even when you look at the bill that they're tabling right now, it's things like, oh, we'll not be dividing property in 2.5. You have to, you know, defend your contribution. So are we going to start piling receipts in tins?
I know. Like keep them in a briefcase under the bed.
In a briefcase?
If you're a lawyer, please, if maybe we've misunderstood.
And you know, if a man does construct this building, you've supported him. You're the one that has stayed home so that he can, like, they're not factoring in that I stayed home so that you can flourish, right? I stayed home. Like, I went to the site. There are days you told me, take those iron bars there. Please take those bags of cement there. I'm not able to come on. Yes, you paid with your money, but there's something that was easy about you doing those projects because of my process, my project.
Yes, because that's what we want. So
women need to rise up. They need to do better.
Can you please put a course through to
my time.
the life-endangering experience that is childbirth.
Yeah.
But
you
you
put
see,
a cost to
even
it.
when you don't have children, your time and your presence and your contribution into this, like, I feel like we need to do better for ourselves as women. So we need to have these conversations, and like, even you see, you're getting remarried, have these conversations. You see, we always feel like, oh, you're trying to jinx it, or don't jinx it by not having this financial conversation. Have this conversation. Like, I've had this conversation with Bobuna, and we know, and he also told me that I would never take the house away from you because you're the one with the kids, right? You're the one who is staying with the kids. I'll definitely just be the one to move on. I'm like, all right, 60-year-old man, good luck starting over at a rental.
Bye.
Me, 60-year-old woman, I'll be here with your children. Like, yeah, we've agreed that if anything ever happens, that at some point we cannot stand one another and we can't be with one another, I am keeping the house. I am keeping the house. If need be, we have to put it in writing, but I am keeping the house. Like, let us have these conversations. There's nothing jinxing about them, because divorce is such a gruesome process. Even just the court sessions alone.
And women have such a broad deal.
Yeah, it's a raw deal.
It's truly unfair.
Here we're not even sure of the child support. It will come this month. Next time it doesn't come. You're chasing someone. There's not much you can do.
What can you do? You're going to hire a lawyer. Do you have the money?
As we're talking about also life after divorce, I'm just thinking about your daughter Ella. What's it been like? Because there's being a mother while you're in it, and then there's being a mother outside of it. How did that change things for you?
Well, to be honest, even when I was in it, I was still mainly by myself.
Okay.
So it kind of became easier when I was out of it, because now you do not feel guilty calling upon the support system.
You now fully showed up as you, knowing that no one is coming to save you.
Thank you. So sometimes I could have my mom have her, my brothers, my, family.
It takes a village,
without feeling like, oh my God, what is he going to say? How is he going to feel? Now if
he's taking her.
Yes, yeah. And yet I really needed the help. I needed a break. I didn't have money.
Did he ever make you feel, did you ever feel judged when you needed help? He wasn't giving it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Especially when you ask for basic needs and it's Feb and it says wait for June.
Yeah.
And you're not asking for yours, you're asking for Ella's. Yeah.
And Phidra is just one of the women that is talking about this. I can tell you that thousands of women are getting this.
Still married. Even one
that's what they are getting.
100%.
But you do know what it is to be Michala Gundi.
Man, there's a way we have glorified it so much. The desire to be someone's wife. Like, just be someone's wife. Me says something. You can't just be there.
Like, your happiness, what is happiness?
Something is. It doesn't matter what the someone you is, as long as you are there.
Me says something.
Yeah.
Oof. Girl, I can see that you all are speaking from a jealousy point of view. POV jealous. POV jealous. But me as Mrs. But anyway, I totally understand how much we've glorified the attachment and the title, and we don't know how else to be anything. We don't know how to be anything else. Like, how are we going to survive outside this thing? And the people that we are, these people, it's how someone recently said, was telling me, we were talking about friendships drifting apart after marriage, female friendships. And someone's like, the thing is, what hurts is that men do not change. Remember, I think it was at your party. Men's lives don't change. They'll still watch football with their friends, hang out with them over the weekend. Yours? Like a life-altering shift.
Yes. A man that told me, all right, after separation, I somehow went on Tinder and I met I just randomly met someone. And this guy told me, so I was going out with my siblings that night. And you know what, this is a guy I've known for 2 days, all of 2 days. You know what he tells me? That, I think you just need a baby. I just need to put a baby in you, then you sit at home.
Like, stop going out.
I was in
so much shock here.
And I'm sorry, who are you, first of all, First of all, even we've known each other for 2 days. You want to put a baby in me and you want to stop me from going out. Like, what in the man is this?
It says a lot about these things we're saying, the mindsets
really
that men feel they should have that type of control over you and just like load you. of like, that's my
You
Lord.
never hear
The
a
funny thing is,
woman-
the times he'll say that to a woman who just laugh.
And that's our problem.
Hey,
We are gatekeeping.
We don't hear.
We are gatekeeping these
Imagine what he
things.
told me. So, I've been going out a lot, and then he said that he should put a baby. Let us see there.
Bambi, listen.
It's a
Listen,
mistake.
That guy who thinks that you need to be at home because you have a baby, because you are his wife. Please listen to those kind of commentaries. They're not going anywhere. They're with you to stay.
Those
after
things
that
really mean
wedding.
something.
I remember seeing our friends Martin and Sarah at the airport, and they're traveling, and their baby was around like 8 to like 9 months there. So I'm like, Banangi, you're going where? Such and such. What? You're leaving the baby? And I'll never forget something Martin said. He's like, that baby is one who came into our lives. Us, me and my wife, we're living our lives happily. And that life came, that girl came and met us here. Yeah. So she'll stay here for the 2 weeks that we'll be away. And me and my wife will continue to just, So there are people like that. Yeah. And then there are people who tell you things like, I will put a child in you just to keep you home. So these are things that while you're dating, you need to pay attention. But let us pay attention to commentary when we are dating.
Yeah, we don't.
Because their actions and the things they say are two different things. But the things that people say, the undertones there, the jokes that they make, they reflect who they are.
Yeah. It's that thing they keep saying of when someone shows you who they are, believe them. They tell you I'm this.
Often we cover over it. We love her.
Let them not turn and be rude to a waiter and then say, I was just defending you. Why did they bring you chips yet you wanted mashed potatoes?
Like in a nice way. You don't have to say it in a room. When someone shows you their colors, please listen. And I just remembered something, that when it comes to these relationships, it's marriages, quite often, as we've said, women get the raw deal. Yeah. But is there anything, like, for the girls that are not married yet, like that advice? What advice would you have given you?
What advice would you give yourself now? Because you're getting married now. What is different now?
I think I would have told me then, at that point that I am now, 2 weeks away from my wedding, I would have reminded myself that it's easier to cancel a wedding than to go through a divorce and all that.
Hallelujah. Put it on a t-shirt. I
would definitely tell myself that, because I was so worried about cancelling a wedding, because we had some friction before.
Cows already moved.
We booked the house to do peep and do it like this. Now, how do you tell people? Meanwhile, people have even contributed. They're even sitting in meetings every week. So
very passionately trying to get money for your wedding.
Use the money, start a business.
So I wish I had known that it would have been a better decision and even easier. I don't regret getting married, because really I got Ella and she's like everything. But I wish I had known that then. I would definitely tell that to a younger girl. And then I would also tell her something that my therapist told me. She told me sometimes doing the right thing may mean doing something that's not necessarily acceptable by society. Because she kept asking me, why are you going back? I asked him, let's go for counseling, let's go to therapy, let's fix this. She kept asking me, why are you going back? Why are you going back? And I kept telling her, I want Ella to have siblings. I want to, now you see my family, now my uncles don't think. And
we need to address that whole, my children should all come from one man.
Thank you. Yes. So she told me, she said, I've had people here that come with a broken arm, but they say, I love him, or he did this for me, or he improves my life like this. And I'm hoping to hear things like that from you, but I'm not hearing them. So until you get a reason as to why you want to go back, not society, not your child, you. Otherwise, you need to realize sometimes doing the right thing means doing something that's not necessarily acceptable.
Yeah.
In society.
Something uncomfortable.
And that was like a light bulb moment. I didn't even go back to that marriage thing. I did not. I knew what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And
that
I just
was
want
it.
to put a bit of a disclaimer that we're not sitting here saying get divorced just because your marriage is hard. Marriage is a challenge. At best, it's a challenge. But what we're trying to say is that just reflect. If we're only speaking to those people who have decided, who have already
But even
decided,
when you decide, I think it's nice to speak like me, who says, I actually tried everything I knew how. I tried.
Possible.
Yes.
Did you try sacrificing animals?
Now that's
At
when
an
I
altar?
At an altar.
I didn't know the direction.
Mountain.
Didn't know the directions.
Do you know how many churches I went to? Fellowship, even Bujingo's church. Fellowship,
you
lunch
fast?
hour. And I needed anything and everything get me out of the house. Lunch hour, fellowship, overnight. Morning.
But in the prayers, were you praying for yourself or for the man? Did you pray for him?
Initially, actually, I prayed for the marriage.
Oh, the
then
Prim.
I prayed for God to let it end. Church was the only plan because it's that one where you don't need to buy drinks, you don't need money, you just need transport.
It's free.
You see, these are the questions that your aunties ask. Nae, have you prayed? Have you fasted? For me, there's this pastor, there's this pastor.
I
Yes.
have this one pastor.
Yes,
And
he
before
restored.
we go, guys, I want to. There's some time I shared. There's something I've forgotten exactly what it was, and I shared. I think it was from with my Instagram page. It was from a follower, and the follower said that the husband is either not taking her out on a date, or he's not. He doesn't take her out on dates at all. He knows how something. And I said, listen, not everything is toxic. You can actually choose. Because why I'm saying this is that a lot of people think that just because things are toxic, it's a thing, and we label everything toxic these days. Yeah, it's a real big cash phrase these days. That's toxic. That one is toxic. Everything is toxic. Everyone is toxic. So just because someone has given, people change. I believe in people changing. So the first sign of, oh my God, toxic, is not for you to leave, Sometimes these things resolve themselves. But another thing that I like to say is, if you've decided to stay in your marriage, try to unentangle yourself from that toxicity. You get, I'm not saying like you've tried. It takes two. Often it takes two. It takes two to tango. People will say you have not done everything you can, but I am one of two.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? I have done everything until the other person literally meets me here where I am. I can't do anything. In which case, if I decide to stay, I'm going to entangle myself from the toxicity and not let it bother me anymore. Without also letting it change me. Okay? Because often where we get entangled is you trying to change the man, is you trying to change the situation. You cannot do anything about another person's actions. You can only do something about what your reaction is. So if you stop letting it get to you, that's usually my if you feel like he's hurting you through not talking to you, don't require him to talk to you. Move on. Do you know what I mean? If you've tried everything you can, stop hurting yourself. At some point, you need to decide that this doesn't hurt me anymore. You get, because we don't give someone ammunition against you, even if it's your spouse.
Yeah.
You don't. It's like it's the same. You allowing them to hurt you in that way is the same thing. It's similar if you gave him a stick and said, do you understand what I'm saying? So guys, be careful of those quick toxic. That's toxic. That's not everything is toxic. But that said, I think this is the end of our show.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much for coming, Phidra.
Yeah, we really appreciate you.
And all the best on your wedding.
Thank you.
Guys, as always, subscribe, like where we are. Just do the thing. We can't be begging in this relationship. You can't be toxic.
Yeah, you can.
Anyway.
That's just toxic.
Anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.